People of the internet, it appears everyone in the Rogan sphere is on a rebrand tour. You have Joe Rogan pretending like he didn't sell out to the election cycle and was always in the middle. You have Ari Shaffir denying that he dosed Bert Kreischer. And now you have Andrew Schulz using his fatherhood to make him seem like he was just a regular guy all this time. And today we are going to read this Hollywood Reporter article to see if it can change our mind and if Andrew Schulz has made a genuine change and he is not the guy willing to sell anything and anybody out for content in his bank account. So without further ado, I bring you this article by Lacey Rose, Andrew Schulz on interviewing Trump, embracing Netflix, and finding comedy in his fertility struggles. We're going to skip the summary because we're just going to go straight to the article here because that's where the juice is. On paper, everything was going swimmingly for comedian Andrew Schulz. The New York Weird stand-up was selling out arenas, including Madison Square Garden twice, and his Flagrant podcast, one of his two pods, was gaining considerable steam. In fact, by October, he'd booked the presidential nominee, Donald Trump, as a guest in all-important lead-up to the election. But the hour comedy special that Schulz was readying for Netflix, which officially dropped earlier this week, told a different story. I did listen to it when I was in the shower, and it just was not that great. But hey, I know you're gonna say that. Of course, you were gonna say that. Well, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say? Does someone take a poo in your living room and you give them a high five? No. You say something because he just pooed in your living room. It'd be weird if you didn't. The hour, like his last tour, is titled Life, and it's easily the most personal material to date. In fact, Schulz shares his painful journey that he and his wife went on to conceive their first child. Oh my God. It was kind of a crazy thing to do, he admits now. The biggest tour of my... He did not. Oh, dude. Did he just say Fatherhood was the biggest tour of it? Oh. Oh. Oh, it just does something to my body. That is like, if you could put cringe in a bottle and just dump it all over you. Dude, I hate it. I want to like stop this video right now. That was not worth reading that. That was... the fuck? Oh my God, I can't believe people. Okay. Biggest tour of my life. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll tell a story. I've never done that. Yeah, I'll walk up there in front of 15,000 people and be like, yo, my sperm doesn't swim. Let's see how that works out. Oh my God, dude. Oh. It just hurts, man. Like Andrew Schulz acts like he wasn't going to do this. Dude, he exploits everything. There's just like nothing. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but at least I tell you what I'm doing. You know what I mean? This guy's acting like fatherhood is the biggest. Okay, ultimately, Schulz's story had a happy ending as the couple celebrated their daughter's first birthday last month. He took time away from her to talk about finding humor in their fertility struggles, as well as the repercussions of his Trump interview, his frustrations with Hollywood, and his adventures in the Joe Rogan manosphere. At what point in your fertility journey did you recognize there was rich comedy material? Sorry. At which point I was trying to do like some different voice and it totally came out weird. At what point in your fertility journey did you recognize there was rich comedy material here? Okay. It was funny at the beginning. I remember the first time we had sex to have a baby. It just come back from Burning Man. And I remember my wife being like, okay, let's start. And I remember there was a little part of me that was like, that sperm is like half Molly. I'd be fine if it didn't work this month. That's what I said to myself. And then you start spiraling. What if the kid ended up being a serial killer? Why? Okay. We're going to jump off on a little tangent here. But why does all of these Joe Rogan manosphere people all talk about serial killers? You have Joe Rogan talking about it, like Tom Segura, even Bert Kreischer. we're going to, I don't want to say it, but you know what I'm going to say. And 50 years from now, if you know what I'm going to say and it comes out, I'm going to be here like 90 something, like, yeah, told you so. Anyways, it is because I'm doing fucking crazy drugs at Burning Man. So that was the first time. But then when it didn't work out for a few months, I started talking on stage about what a lie it all is. This idea of just practice safe sex and all this other stuff that they tell you that I was terrified about my whole life. I just felt like I wasted so much stress throughout my life. Okay, admittedly, I smoked a joint before doing this. This isn't scripted. Okay, so I may be like, it's the first time me seeing it, so I may be out of it. But do you understand what he said there? I feel like, okay, let's start. And I remember there was a little part of me that was like, that sperm is like half Molly. I'd be anyways. All right. Oh, okay. All right. I'm having a hard time, man. This guy, the language he chooses is crazy for me. It's just crazy for me. Okay, this was presumably before you realized you had any issues with fertility. Yeah, at this point, I didn't know that there's anything wrong with my sperm. As a dude, you're so fucking arrogant. You can't imagine there could be anything wrong with it. This is how arrogant I was. The night before we both got checked, I prayed it was my fault because I didn't want my wife to deal with the heartbreak. She was already telling me her theories. She'd be like, I had my laptop on my stomach when I'd watch movies as a kid and the fucking zap my ovaries. And then I remember the doctor telling us hers were perfect and that my sperm sucks. Even that was a funny moment because I was like, oh God, of all the things I prayed for in my life, the amount of snow days when I didn't have my homework done, this is the one you answer. It seemed almost cruel. Yeah, so there's the first stage where it was just kind of funny to talk about how hard it is to get pregnant and how we all been lied to. It was funny to go on stage and be like, yo, you're not going to get pregnant. It's bullshit. It's propaganda from Big Condom or something. And then when I found out it was me, I was like, oh, fuck. But I just started talking about that on stage too. And the weirdest thing would happen. There would be the guys who'd come up to me after the show and they'd be like, fireman, like fucking guys. And they'd be like, hey, man, that was really funny stuff. I was like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I really like that, man. I'm glad you're talking about that. And that surprised you? Well, at first, they wouldn't say that went through it. What? They say that they went through it. Okay, sorry. But the amount of people that would message me, it was wild. And I started to go, wait a minute. Are people having trouble getting pregnant? Oh, God. All of this is annoying. I'm not a big fan of any of this stuff. I have no interest in it. And it just seems it just seems right there that if Andrew was saying that on his podcast, that would be like one of his epiphany wins. Wait. Oh. Are people having trouble getting pregnant? Gee, wow, whiz. I can't today, man. Oh, let me have a sip of coffee. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, yo, let me see what this. That's a good strain, brother. That's a good strain. Sorry, guys. You can make fun of me. It wouldn't bother me. You got to understand. I didn't know this was an issue at all. Like, it wasn't just an issue for me and my wife, but the number of DMs I get, I was like, wow, is this the last thing people are uncomfortable talking about? The last taboo thing? Of course, Andrew Schulz stumbled upon the last taboo thing in the world. This guy. And I get it. It's so painful. Oh, God. Come on. Here's the thing. We can have feelings about things, but in the end, it's all bullshit. But this, a lot, and that helps me, like, brush a lot of things off, right? But I guess I've never been a fan about just, like, selling out and being corny just to sell out. Like, Andrew Schulz doesn't care about any of this. Like, the last thing I would be doing, I mean, It seems obvious to do material on fatherhood. It just seems too obvious. Anyways. You ended up filming the special at the Beacon in New York, but you initially planned to do it at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. What happened there? I was supposed to be at BAM, and then I don't know, everything seemed fine, and then we had Trump on the pod, and then they were like, we talked to the board, and yeah. Was that the only fallout from having Trump on? Well, I think the negative of getting involved in anything like politics or religion is that you're either a hero or a villain. Yeah, he's right there, man. I think, man, I just get tired of it. That's it. I'm so tired of turning on the TV. And everybody is like, oh, you're right. You're left. You're right. You're left. And it's like, bro, we were just choosing, like, do you want to put pepperoni on the pizza or not? This has nothing to do with political views. How is pepperoni on a pizza conservative? You know, it's just, but that's what people do. And everyone's fighting and they're all like, oh. And it's just like, it's so horrible because you know what? 99% of the time, I'm nothing but me. That's it. 1% on the right day, I might go vote and then I got to get a little political. But that's it. All right. Well, okay, he said that. And at sometimes both at the same time, depending on one's political leaning. Your interview was either a version of Trump was charismatic, crushed it, or he's a buffoon and Schulz laughed in your face. Both were clipping the same thing. The Kamala team and the Trump team were clipping the exact same clips. Yep, okay. With completely different perspectives on what they were communicating with said clips. It's like American culture is a microcosm when you think about it. There's that saying, you have to see it to believe it, when in reality you have to believe it to see it. That's the Rorschach, right? I can't say that, dude. Oh, I've never said it. Sorry. Make fun of it. Clip it, whatever you believe is what you see in those ink blots. That was eye-opening to me. And that is just understanding when you put your toe in the water what comes with it. People are incredibly tribal and passionate about politics and religion. There's a reason why a lot of people just avoid them. You make a lot of money avoiding them. People always say things like, oh, those people's grifting on politics. And there are people grifting on politics, but you grift to the middle. You want to grift to the top? Be nice to everybody. The people making the most money in comedy, I guarantee, are nice to everybody. I cannot believe he's saying, dude, this is a rebrand and a half. That is exactly what I learned from my ways, and now I know I have to be nice to everybody. It is what it is, right? It is what it is, man. This guy. Nobody's been making more money on the road than Nate Bargatze. He certainly subscribes to steer clear of anything that offends philosophy. Yeah, but that guy is a total... How did his what? Oh, I can't say that. Oh, I guess Nate Bargatze. All right. Have you seen his jokes? There, I figured it out. Have you seen his jokes? They're terrible. Man, anything I say right now is going to be really offensive. Moving on. He certainly subscribes to steer clear of anything that offends philosophy. Exactly. But I don't know. Trump is a specific thing. There are a lot of people who can be critical of platforming somebody like Trump, and they say they'd never do it. But you also didn't have the opportunity to. So you don't really know what you would do until you were given that opportunity. And yeah, I don't know. I had 3 things that I wanted to tell the person that might be the leader of the free world. They were 3 things that were important to me. One was I wanted him to say on camera that he would protect IVF, and he did. Another was stopping not all foreign wars, but if there's ones that are senseless, that are just to line the... I'm trying, folks. I am trying. Sorry for the pause. Another military industrial complex that maybe we could curb that. And then the last one was some empathy for illegal immigrants that are not breaking the law, like maybe a pathway to citizenship. Doesn't like you listen to me much on that one. Is the idea that Trump came on the podcast and like Andrew was like, I got him to say to stop all wars, and like it just This guy like walks on air or something, man. Nope. I'm not saying I have any impact on. Oh, okay, of course. But if you have the opportunity to be impactful and you choose not to do it for whatever reason because you're concerned about, I don't know, what your friends or supporters might think, you're allowed to do that. But for me, I just thought it was something that I could sleep at night doing, and I'm proud of myself for doing it. Was there any point where your fertility struggle felt too real or too hard to talk about on stage? No, it was the best to talk about it on stage, and a lot of times I felt more comfortable talking about it there than anywhere else. I didn't talk about it on the podcast. It's weird. I know that on stage you're going to talk in front of so many people, but for whatever reason, it doesn't feel as vulnerable as sharing it on a podcast and conversation. Yeah, dude, you would have had a ton of videos made about it. That's what would have happened. It would have been like, I shoot blanks. Schulz shoots sperms. What would be Schulz shoots shitty Schulz shoots? I don't know. Why do you think the format is not as conducive to being as personal and vulnerable? I don't know. There's something about being on stage for me, and I don't write jokes. There are certain people who go, okay, here's the misdirect. Let me reverse engineer this joke. I don't care who writes jokes like that. They're fun for rants or roasts, but then in terms of the way I do is comedy's always been this is one thing I feel. And the way I communicate my feelings to the world just happens to be funny. And it was cathartic. To go on stage and talk about the shit that I was going through. Sorry, folks, I was just having fun. Because this guy is just such a bore. I've always tried to do something different every time I put something out. Let me tell you how cool I am. Oh, here we go. I'm about to cry, guys. Whether it was the first YouTube special and then I did a crowd work special and it was before these things became popular. And then with this one, I was like, okay, I've never been personal and I've never told stories. I had to learn what a story was. I read all the books about storytelling. You name it, I read it. And I even bought these fucking cards from Instagram with like storytelling tactics. I wanted to figure it out. Like, what makes this shit work? Why are some stories good? Why are some boring? And as this thing unfolded, I was like, okay, what if I just told one story? But I never wanted to tell anybody that it was one story because I didn't want the one-man show expectation. Ba 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 bum. The magic of Andrew Schulz, live in the flesh. Oh yeah, brother. What does this mean to you? This guy, dude, I can't. It's just like everything is like, and then on the 8th day, there was Andrew Schulz. God's gift to humanity. What does that mean to you? I have respect. Oh, here he's going to shit on the one-man show. Okay. But it's not for Andrew Schulz because Andrew Schulz is fashion. Andrew Schulz is forward thinking. Andrew Schulz is everything. It's fucking guy, dude. Oh, man. Oh, I have respect for the one-man show, people, but sometimes I feel like you're asking the audience to lower their comedic expectations, and that's okay, because there's another component that might fill that void. But for me, I was like, but for me, do you notice that? You know, people that do one-man shows, I have respect for you, but for me, it's for me. I was like, what if I could do that and make you laugh? As a lot of you always laughed when you come to my shows. And one of the most rewarding things is that I get these DMs still to this day. Dude, I'm going crazy. This guy is so full of himself. You know, I came into this being like, okay, we're going to have us a little fresh perspective. We're going to like see Andrew Schulz. And then like, he's just like, you know, people like food. But for me, I need something of more substance. But for me, who remembers that it was like early, it was probably early, maybe it was like All Dogs Go to Heaven or Oliver. I think it was Oliver. Who remembers that dog cartoon Oliver and that little chihuahua? If this is torture, chain me to the wall. When he sees the girl dog or something he was in love with, because he was always like trying to go after the girl dogs. Yeah, anyways. Where was I? Okay. People who came to the show, they had no fucking clue because I didn't promote it. Dude, I'm having trouble. They probably saw the life tour and they thought I was bragging. Like I'm living the life. Oh, he marketing genius. But no, I'm a daddy-o. So they come to the show expecting one thing and then they leave and they'll DM me like, oh my God, we just started our IVF journey. And then they'll message me a month later like, here's a picture of our baby. Or we just got pregnant. Or some people were struggling and they say they gave them a little bit more hope. And again, that's not what you go in expecting. I just want people to come to life, but to have the kind of connection with people on top of it. It's been awesome. Yeah, you know what he reminds me of is like Ben Stiller trying to sell the tip. You know, you can have the life too. You just need to work hard. You know? Get in the gym. Eat right. This is comedy, dude. This is the funniest thing Andrew Schulz has ever did because I have not laughed so much at Andrew Schulz as I have today. It's so good. Okay. The comedy gatekeeper used to be Carson. And then it was Letterman. Who or what is it now? Joe Rogan? I think it's Rogan and Kill Tony. We are doomed, folks. Tony Hinchcliffe's show, especially for new comics. What are you called? The Manoverse or the Manosphere? The Manosphere. It's so funny, but I guess we are that. We're a bunch of guys. We're just having locker room talk. Locker room talk. Or whatever the fuck that term is. And I think the tricky things is when we get labeled in certain ways. Like, oh, they're all sexist, racist bigots. And it's just like that. I'm not going to have some writer from Maine tell me I'm racist. Just stop it. I know you didn't grow up with anybody but white people. I know you got this NPR job or whatever. But I don't need you to tell me how to be an ally. This happened with Bernie Sanders. When Bernie caught steam, the Democratic Party tried to suppress him a bit, and they started labeling his followers the Bernie Bros. And they're like, yeah, the sexism problem, bigotry problem. All the same things. Then the second it started seeming being helpful for Trump, it was the same playbook, and people are getting privy to that, and I don't think it's advantageous for that to be used. I just get the fact that Andrew Schulz is just above everything, and he just walks through the clouds, skip to Malu, happy day. He is the creation of all creations, the giver of life. He is not just the manosphere, he is the sphere. It's just, woo. I don't know. Should we, how much longer is this? Oh. No. This is so long. Okay. Oh, this is going to be bad, folks. Here we go. Oh, just look at the question. It's going to be bad. The answer is going to make me roll over in my chair. There are those who say comedy podcasts like yours help get Trump elected. Listen, for every election, we want 2 candidates that we love. I mean, that would be awesome. Me and Charlemagne the God. We've been doing Brilliant Idiots, their podcast together for 10 years, and Charlemagne's close with Kamala. He had Kamala on the pod. I had Trump on the pod. We're boys for 10 years. We're talking shit about politics every single week. But it doesn't matter. To me, that's the version of America that you want to see. You want to see 2 guys who might have something different ideas, but who can cross the aisle tons. I grew up as a Democrat my whole fucking life. I grew up in the aughts in New York. You know, it's really funny. Hold on, let me hit this again. I'm having fun, folks. I'm sorry. This is what it is. Yeah. Hey, you. Hey, you. All right, here we go. Here we go. It's almost Friday, so let's take the edge off a little bit. I know some of you will see this when you get off work. You'll be doing the same thing with me. Back to the show. Back to the show. I've got no drinks. I got a little bit of coffee. Hold up. Okay. My family had a dance studio. I was going to the ballet. So to me, that's the best version of what we can be. And we're all talking shit to each other, making fun of each other, and then we're disagreeing on how unconstitutional Doge might be. You did a TED Talk back in 2019 where you talked about how sensitive and politically correct the culture was and its damaging impact on comedy. How have these things changed in years since? Certainly feels like the pendulum has swung all the way in the other direction. All right. Yeah, it's like cancel culture and all these things. It's over. I mean, people still get canceled. They still say horrible things about people. That still happens. So people try. They tried to get Jay-Z hemmed up, and then that was just dismissed. Yeah, because he's got money, man. Don't talk about justice like it's a real thing. It's how much money you got. Can you pay for justice? If you can't pay for justice, you get justice going that direction, away from you, into somebody else's debit card. Yeah. Yeah, but I think people have become desensitized to it. You can make whatever joke you want. In the promo I did with Matt Damon, please, announce all your accolades. One of the lines that we had but cut was him going, "What do you do for your special? Are you going to go and complain about cancel culture in that sold out arena?" And it's like, we can't cry about it when we're selling out arenas. Oh, man. Do you think every time Andrew Schulz walks into his house, his wife has to like run down the stairs to the front door, like hit play on the iPod, and then she has to look at Andrew Schulz and be like, "I can't live if living is without you. I can't live anymore." And then she has to like kiss his feet. Do you think that happens? I mean, this Andrew guy, like, God, dude, he must float places. He don't need to walk. He just thinks and gravity just departs its way, and he just walks right through it in any direction. He's a miracle. Earlier in your career, you had success on TV with shows like Guy Code, but you struggled to cut through with your stand-up. Comedy Central, for instance, wasn't interested. What was the feedback? Just no interest. I think the easy thing every white comic will do is to chalk it up to, oh, there was a push for diversity or whatever. But it's just like, okay, we'll be funnier, but so funny that's undeniable, or get so much success that it's undeniable. Now I will say that did happen to me. I remember I did some show and the executive producer made my character gay 2 weeks before we started. Oh, God. I don't even want to read. Oh, here we go. Oh, dude, everything. It's just like, there's always got to be something. Oh, man. Okay. I just can't believe these guys. He's like, there's too many white guys. We got to switch this up. And so you got to be gay. They literally made me gay for diversity, which is the worst version of it. Because you're not trying to tell a gay story. You don't care. That's what happens with people who don't grow up around anybody but their group. They think you could just change the color of something, and that group of people will like, I always say I got the most diverse audience in comedy. And I think it's because I have a lot of curiosity about cultures around the world. And I talk about them and make fun of them. But I think people see that I care enough to do the research, and so they don't feel like it's some hacky joke, and they show up because they appreciate the representation. Here I am, some fucking white guy, and I'm doing arenas in the Middle East, making fun of them, and they're like, yeah, he sees us. People really just want to feel seen. Give me one second, I gotta blow my nose. It's messing up everything. Hold on. Woo. Okay. I just didn't want you to see that. There's a cloth right there that I keep for bad moments. So here he is. Andrew can just relate anywhere. He can go anywhere and people love him. I heard you say the acting was something you felt you had to do early on, but you never liked it. I think I killed that, by the way. That's what he... Oh, God, this guy. I'm going to give myself a little credit. Killed what? Acting being something that comics need to do? Yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan changed everything. It was like, okay, I got to get on Rogan. But then when I started doing the YouTube specials and posting clips and having all this success, comics started to go, oh shit, I can get successful just sharing the thing I care most about. I don't have to be some brother who's half retarded on a sitcom. Oh, guys, these guys. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, man, I just can't. Okay. Okay, the thing is, it's just like they can't just say anything, right? And I know this because I did this a lot when I was younger and I was just arrogant and I thought I knew everything. But people can't just say something, like, I don't have to do some acting role on some sitcom, right? He's got to make like a jab, like a political jab or just something to like jab at people. And I can't help but laugh because it's just like, oh man, these guys just so obviously don't care about anything but their own, which is human. I mean, you can't really ask anybody to care more about themselves, care about you more than themselves, right? Or other people. They got to take care of their own. But it's just, I just, if you just want to be a dick, just be a dick. It's not a big deal. Just be who you are. Just don't act like you walk on water and everything you do is so great. All right. I just do the thing I care about. And that seems to be the way things are going now. What exactly do you not like about acting? It's unbelievably boring. You sit around all day, you do nothing, and then you come in and you say one line that some guy wrote for you. Now, writing something and doing it, it's just a little more fun. It's a problem solving all day. And that seems really exciting, and I'm interested in doing that. But you just being an actor for hire isn't appealing? I did the You People movie, and I'm grateful they let me be in something like that. But I'm just sitting in a fucking trailer for 12 hours a day. I could be on tour providing for my family. I'm bleeding money sitting in a trailer, having the worst conversations with actors. Yes, he is very pretentious. It is true. It is true. He is just above. I think the reason, and look, like he's successful being this way, so what can I say? But I think the reason it bothers me so much is because I had a lot of success in my career. I had a really big thing happen, and it brought me a lot of success. And I acted like I was above things. I acted like I was better than people without ever giving them a chance to see their. And it does a lot of bad things for you, and it makes you look like a giant asshole. And yeah, I know how that feels, and it took a lot to like. I wasn't always like that, but like in my career or like I would be competitive with people and I would get like that. And it really doesn't do anything for you. And it feels awful. So I could feel it through his words. I could feel that. And I know how that feels. And it's just, it's not good. It's not good. It's better to be a flawed human because people don't expect shit out of you and they shouldn't. You do what you can do, but that's it. You can't live up to people's expectations. Hell, I can barely live up to my own. I'm failing myself all the time. And so like at some point you just stop caring and you start realizing you're a human, right? You have flaws. You don't have to pump yourself up to people. People will like you or they won't. and you just keep doing you. Now, there are things that you could better yourself in, and there are some things throughout human history that we've agreed on are things, that are good for all humans, right? But how the internet has made all these, like, this is a cause of the internet. Like, people expect you're perfect because you upload content or you're a public figure, but they're not. But he's trying to act like he is. He's obviously trying to pull a line, like toe the line a little bit, and then jump over on the other side and antagonize him with, quotes like, play some brother who, in a sitcom. Like, he's just playing everybody, man. And then he's just like, oh, it's unbelievably boring. Yeah, but that's not acting. That's movie sets. Movie sets they're terrible because there's just so much going on that everything takes a ton of time. Like, you have to coordinate so many things. Like, they're coordinating. There's so much. It's a giant puzzle. There's so much coordinating before they even start filming anything. You've got to, you got to figure out locations. You got to figure out props. You got to figure out where you're gonna hire cameras, lighting. You got to figure out if you're bringing anybody on a team that you want, like your camera operators or like an assistant you like or whatever. You got to get them. Then you got to go out and then you got to hire someone that has to go out and hire crew. Then you got to go out and hire extras. Then you got to do all the actors negotiations. Then you got to have lawyers, producers, executive producers. It's a crazy thing. And like, yeah, being on a movie set is not fun. It's terrible. It's just a lot of work and a lot of people on edge rushing. But you put in a little bit of time. It's like anything. And you just go, this is what it is. I'm going to do this for 6 weeks. I'm going to be tired, but I'm going to get paid good. And I'm going to contribute to a cool movie if it turns out cool. Anyways, that was a big tangent. But anyways, I just thought I'd tell you. Okay. Okay. All right. This is your second Netflix special. With all that success, why not just continue posting on YouTube? I did the first Netflix one during COVID, and that was just based on the turn your phone videos I did. Okay. And the last one I did where we sold it ourselves was really supposed to be on Amazon, but they gave me pushback about a couple jokes, and I don't even blame them. I'm like, you're a $1 billion company that sells toilet paper. Oh. You see what I just said? He just has to poke toilet paper. Why would you risk tarnishing your brand over my Michael Jackson take or whatever the joke was? So my initial idea was to do that one with the streamer and see how that worked and see if that brought a different audience, etc. But then people were able to rally behind me, and that was pretty fucking sick. So why go the Netflix route with this one? Because he didn't have a Netflix deal last time? That's why he made all that shit up. Come on now. Come on. There was a time during COVID where people were so engaged online with creators, where we were buying these live moments and live events. It became part of what we did because there was so little content out there. Then the second that COVID ended, the studio started pumping shit back out, and people were like, all right, I don't need to buy that little moment. I'll just watch Severance on TV. Hell yeah, I'd rather watch Severance than that. Severance is weird and good. It's getting good. It is really getting good. At some point, it's getting good. Okay? You tell me. Meaning, I know... Oh, where are we? Culture changed in a way that we consumed, in my estimation. And so I was like, yeah, I think it makes sense to go here, to Netflix. But one of the cool things is that I had a number that I could do on my own. What do you mean by that? Meaning, I know how much I could generate. No comic really knows what they're worth. You just think of a number. You go, okay, well, Dave Chappelle got that. What percentage am I? But I had a number, having had that experience on my own. But even then, in order to get an offer, you need another offer. That's the other thing I realized about this business. There you go. The good news is there are a lot of platforms in this moment eager for special. That is the best thing that can happen for comedians. I'm putting this special on Netflix, but every comedian should be rooting for Hulu right now. They should be rooting for Amazon, because the more people out there, the more competitive they have to be. We created a competitor in YouTube, and what I think that partly did, it is loosen the constraints. Netflix has always been pretty good with putting out content and not censoring, but it made comics go, oh shit, I could potentially get more for myself. Not even money-wise, just get more reach on YouTube. I often tell comics that are younger in the game, like putting your stuff out on YouTube and clipping the whole thing and putting it out there, because before anybody knows about you is more beneficial for you. I mean, I just get the sense that Andrew is the god of everything, you know? How much more of this article? Oh my God, we're almost done. It's just so hard. Okay, and the stamp of approval that Netflix seems provides doesn't outweigh that. I think it depends where you are in your career. I think early on, people want to find you. If somebody sees you at Madison Square Garden, they're going to be like, oh, he's popping. I don't got to carry this one. We all want to feel part of that discovery because you represent their dreams. What did you famously say about Netflix on Rogan's shows a few years ago? Netflix is done? Oh. I was brushing this article off, and then a blah. Oh, I'll say anything. I was right. I was right. I'll say anything. That's why you can't take me too seriously. Nevertheless, how did that public declaration of yours impact your negotiation? They're not letting it go. Oh, that didn't matter. They don't care. They're in the business of putting out the best comedy, and they want to make sure it's on their platform. So they're not going to let me say Netflix is dead before the last special I put out get in their way of me going to Hulu or Amazon. And they were right, by the way. I thought I was right, though. I was like, how can they win this race? Everything's going to be on YouTube. But they figured it out, man. They sure did. What's left of your professional bucket list? Obviously, I want to make sure my wife and kid are provided for, our lifestyles maintained, but it's cool to be in a place where I'm not going back on tour right after this. It's not okay. Where's my next hour? And how do I get back on the road? My agents want that immediately, but what I've never done is just work on a 3 or 5 minute piece and shoot it in a cool, unique way and put it out. I'm interested in how I can do things that aren't attached to any kind of monetary gain. Things that are just the purest version of the art. Andrew Schulz is just deep. Like, I've never done one-liners. I'm like Mitch Hedberg. What do you call a train with no train tracks? A statue, man. What if I worked on 3 minutes of one-liners? Those are things that I'm excited about creatively. There's no pressure, no money attached. It's just how I create. I'm also interested in creating things in New York. What would that look like? I love what they've done in Austin, where Joe is such a force, and Tony with the Kill Tony show is unbelievable. I can feel comics in New York going, okay, that's the way to make it. We got to go there, get on Rogan's show, and then hopefully you can continue to be part of it. And he just builds these guys up, and they're stars in their own right now. I'd really love to make something in New York that gave comics that opportunity to push through. They're still got to make their own stuff, but I'd love to create something with the sole intention of just building up great comedians that we have in New York and giving them those types of opportunities. Those are my next 2 goals. My final question for you: how old will your daughter need to be to watch this special? I think about that. I think about that all the time. I'm like, will she be proud of me? Will she like it? Will she think it's stupid? Will it be dated? Comedy doesn't age well. You look back at some stuff and you're just like, what the fuck? I'm sure the TED Talk I did, if you don't see the date 2019 plastered on that, you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Oh, there it is, folks. Andrew Schulz. He is just in love with himself and everything, idea and epiphany he has. I just don't know, man. I just don't know about this guy. It's just, it's too much, man. It's too much for me. It is too much for me. Why does he wear prison shirts? Aren't those like prison jumpsuits? Why is he wearing a prison jumpsuit? I thought he had money. Anyways, have a good day, guys.